Today's guest is Karen Silverman, who is a certified holistic nurse coach focusing on self-transformation and spiritual healing. With over 20 years of experience as a registered nurse in the ER, Karen continues to work and is an expert in trauma, grief, burnout, critical thinking skills, effective communication, using active listening, and advocating for her patients. Karen has now found her new passion and calling in a unique way that she never knew existed as a transformational nurse coach and spiritual healer. So, Karen, thank you very much for being on. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. I feel very honored and grateful to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to dive into all of this stuff with you. So, yeah, I'd love for you to just give us a little bit more context beyond the bio on, you know, who you are. Like, obviously, I know you're a nurse. You're getting into this like spiritual coaching world. So, just kind of tell us a little bit more about where you're at with that and anything else you want to add beyond the bio.
Sure. Yes. So, like you said, I've been an ER nurse for over 20 years. And the reason I got certified in holistic health and holistic nursing was because I was at a breaking point like in 2021 and I was just kind of lost and I had kind of hit rock bottom. It was in the middle of COVID and it was just like that trauma from just even COVID, dressing up every day, like getting, in your gown and whatnot. I was just kind of broke. We were kind of secluded. Everybody was secluded in the world, but more than anything, I went to Sedona and took, a leap of faith and just kind of invested in myself. And they say 3 days of transformation, and I was like, okay, that's not really going to happen, but it did. And what I found there was a type of healing that I had never experienced any other way. And it was like I was being heard for the first time. I my feelings were valid. I dealt with a lot of rejection in my life as far as just different aspects and learned where the rejection comes from, learning about your inner child. And I left feeling like a new person and so excited for like the first time. Like I felt excited to be alive again. And so I was just thinking about maybe I should just transition out of the ER. And so I found this awesome program and I went and got certified so I could give that experience hopefully to other people. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's not, I always say I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I'm your accountability partner. So.
Okay, fair enough. So, just so that I'm clear now. So have you left nursing completely and you are doing your coaching business full time, or this is still like a side hustle? I'm trying to turn it into full, like where are you at in that transition?
So I went to go travel for a couple of years. I came back when I was finishing up my program. So I'm part-time in the emergency room. So I work still 24 to 36 hours a week. And then I'm working on my business. My goal is to completely get out of the ER and focus on my business. So
Got it. Okay. So the goal is to basically transition into coaching full time.
full time.
Okay, perfect. And do you have like a desired timeline for that, or like whenever that happens, like where, like I guess how close are you to making that happen?
I was ready 2 years ago. No. So I've already got my platform and things set up. I am ready to launch, hopefully within the next month or so. That's my goal. But, you know, starting your own business, you've got the fear of, leaving. I can't just leave my job. I guess still have some income, and just making sure that I am prioritizing and serving my clients in the way that they need to be served. But I just can't leave the ER just yet. So, but within the next month, hopefully I will be gaining some clients. That's my goal.
Fair enough. And I think you're actually doing it the right way.
Mhm.
Even though I wish I had taken this advice, but like to kind of burn the bridges and like quit all the things and just go all in to like do like that sounds so sexy when it works, but it's an absolute shit show when it doesn't. So
Totally.
I think you are doing it right, even though it does take a little bit more effort in terms of like managing your own resources of like when do I do this? How do I make the time for it? How do I manage my own energy through it? And then working with clients and learning all like there is a lot that goes to it, but it's like there's a lot that goes to it even when it's full time. So I actually think you're doing it the right way in terms of I have a stable set point in terms of like my bills are paid because that takes away a lot of the stress and pressure while I get to learn all of these aspects of like building a business. So just kind of putting that out there. And
Mhm.
then two, a lot of that early stage kind of entrepreneurship is going to be about balancing getting the core skills in place of like, what's my offer? How do I market to people? How do I sell, etc. And then also managing yourself through that. It's kind of like two separate streams that you have to do with that. So I'm just kind of curious, like at least on the kind of marketing skills, sales skills aspect, like is that something you've invested in? And like I know the basics, I just have to kind of put them into play. Like where are you at on the skills part of the spectrum?
So I'm in two programs right now. So I do have a website and I'm working with a platform as well, and then another business coaching, kind of like a soul business aligned, program. And I'm learning that because, being a nurse, like I said, I know how to do nursing stuff. And I actually have my first degree is actually in photography, advertising and photography. So, but that's like totally out of the window for me. So this is brand new. So getting the confidence too is like I'm learning it, but I'm got a little bit of OCD in me. And so here I will be sitting like on Canva or whatnot, trying to just lead magnet. And I'm like, oh, like three or four words don't make sense. And I'll just sit there and just I got to move on. And just like, if it works, it works. What I need to more is trust my gut and just put things out there because if you don't, I mean, it's never going to happen. If I don't, I'll just sit there and be like, oh, it's going to be like 5 years down the road. And I'm like still working on that same piece of like Canva art, like, oh,
Got it. Okay. So it's not that I'm not investing into building the skills to do all of this. What's
Mm,
really happening is the personal side of things is getting in the way. I'm overthinking things. I'm
mm.
questioning everything. There's so much friction in just getting the momentum going. I hold myself back from posting because of I'm assuming there's some perfectionism on there. And I know you mentioned like imposter syndrome as well. So it seems like that is the actual like roadblock that you were experiencing. Is that accurate in your experience as
That's
well?
very accurate.
Okay,
Very. And
perfect.
then it turns into procrastination. And then it turns into everybody, so how's your business going? And I'm like, well, I'm working on this one piece.
Got it.
So
Okay. So in that case, how like and this is more just so I'm getting kind of like the contextual pieces in play. So how long have you been in this space of kind of procrastination and overthinking? Like you mentioned 2021, you had like the spiritual awakening experience. So like that's 3 years. Is it like 3 years I've been trying to like get this thing rolling, or in the past year, like where are you at time-wise with all of this?
I think that the spark of it came in Sedona like in 2021, but I never knew about this. So I probably when I graduated from my program, so that was like last August. So since
Mhm.
then, I've been trying to like figure out, oh, how am I going to, incorporate this? And then I joined a program, and it's like an accelerator course to figure out how to market yourself. And then I get real shy of social media. I don't like to like on Facebook. I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes in a lot, due to the fact well, your friend, you got all your friends on there and hell, they've known me as an ER nurse for how long, and they're like, oh, this is interesting. But moving forward, so then I signed up for another program, and so I have had a lot of investments, but they're two great investments. So over what month are we in? June. So yeah, like a little less than a year,
Okay.
like
So
really working on it.
got it. So, I mean, whatever, like summer to summer, we're kind of
Sure,
approaching
yeah,
about a
absolutely.
year of trying to work through this. Okay. And in that year, you're saying all of these, the lack of confidence, the procrastination, the imposter syndrome, like that's really been the friction points of like getting the momentum that I need. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. And I want to add in there too, we all deal with like, I've had a lot of like just family, like stuff that's come up, that this has also been happening to put on the side, unfortunately. But, stress is something that have been a huge factor dealing with like stressful situations. My dad's been sick, and and I'm a caretaker and I just love to like, I mean, take care of my dad and I have to put my 15-year-old 4-legged daughter down, and it's just emotional, like things like that. So I try to be there for everybody as well, and managing a lot of things. So I think emotional time management, maybe
Hmm.
also, would that be a good word? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, how
Um,
would you just like, I have my interpretation of that. How would you describe that?
so I think the emotional time management, or maybe the wellness part of it is, I say this to people all the time, like you can't take care of people, you cannot succeed until you take care of yourself.
Hmm.
And I put myself on the back burner a lot.
Okay, so yeah, that was going to be my follow-up. So how are you actually taking care of your emotional self, your inner regulation, all those pieces?
Right. Um, I do try to, so I'm big on yoga. And so I try to incorporate that. But I find when I start to get overwhelmed, because going on the go, like, when first of all, you're in the ER for 12, 13 hours a day, grueling. And I try to come home and I and I work 11 to 11. So I come home and I think I'm like gonna be productive, and I don't even take that time to really like just chill out. I start to either work on my business or try to exercise, and then I'm up again for another 12. So I'm having a hard time balancing that. But the things that I know works for me is journaling, yoga, breath work, and trying to meditate. And so I just need to be consistent with that.
And did those things provide you relief and kind of centering, or they actually help you overcome the imposter syndrome and the friction to, posting and marketing?
No, they help me to come, just become like just feeling like relaxed and like calm and kind of letting all that go. So no, that helps, but that does not, I think like doing something like this motivates me to, get information, or, being in the community with this group that I am that's helping me with the marketing and talking with other coaches. I am a sucker for signing up for a lot of things just because I want to give or, receive all this information. So that's what really motivates me.
Got it. Okay. So on the one hand, you have these things that basically provide relief and coping, but they're not actually helping you move the needle forward in terms of the actions you need to do, right? And then there's another part of you that, like I said, I'm a sucker for getting education and information. So to what degree are you just searching for information versus doing the things you need to do to like invoke the transformation?
So I think I like doing this podcast. Like that's me getting out there and actually being heard. And so for me, this is exciting, I think. And I've been on another podcast before. And then, you know, trying to get out there and do workshops. I need to just get out there and market myself for that.
Hmm. And when you were
Right.
speaking about all these things, usually there's a preamble or like you'll mention, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that. So I see you laughing. So what is the laughing when I reflect that back?
Sorry, I just think I just snorted. Um,
Okay.
because it's just it's excuses.
Right.
I know this. Like I could coach myself. Like if I was on the other seat, I could coach myself.
Hmm.
Um, and be like, I know that these are excuses. It's
Okay.
every
So you know that there are excuses, right? I'm saying all the right things, which I know are also excuses, like trying. Like I could try and pick up, the pen that's on my desk, but it not being picked up and it being picked up is also me trying. So like it actually doesn't move the needle forward. So there's some disempowerment in the narratives that your brain tends to default to. So if you know all of these things, what do you think, even if we're going to take that approach of like I'm coaching myself, what do you think is the block that's stopping you from doing it?
fear of looking like an idiot.
Fear of looking like an idiot. Okay.
Not an idiot, I wouldn't say that. Just the fear of not being prepared or putting myself out there and people being like, I'm not quite sure if I really understand this.
Okay. So
And
what's the
maybe
fear of? You're basically, there's a fear of expressing what it is that I truly want to express, what's on my heart, what I feel like needs to be said, and the judgment that's going to come from that.
it's so funny that you're doing this because I do have a program that I have worked up at this workshop and it's all about fear.
Hmm. Yep, that's okay. So
Yeah, it's interesting. So,
in many ways,
um,
you're prejudging yourself ahead of time.
yeah,
Like I am prejudging myself, so I'm playing small as a result of it. Okay, so you're essentially aware of that piece as well.
oh, that's
So
interesting.
my question to you here is like, is there a part of you that doesn't actually want to change?
No, I think that I really fully want to change. I mean, I know that I am changing. I've already started to change. For me, putting all of this energy and work and time and, the money that I've spent creating where I am at so far and spiritually, as far as like learning breath work and things like that, that I believe in, I'm already changing. And
Good.
so
So
I,
I agree with you on that, right? Because at the end of the day, like there's skin in the game. I've
yeah,
invested my time, money, and resources to learn the craft of, the coaching, the type of coaching that I want to do. I've invested in the skill set of how do I do business and all of that. And it seems like the part where you've kind of done the least, at least from what you're describing, whether it's an investment or let's just say energetic investment, meaning like with the other two, it's like very clear, like I'm committed to this and I've put skin in the game, etc. But it's like the part that seems to be lagging in everything that you're describing is actually not unlike what you mentioned about I'm a caretaker and I put myself last. Like I put myself last with regards to like really honing in and transforming the inner part of me that I can actually execute on all of the other pieces. So I'm just curious, like, is that accurate for you? Does that resonate?
it does resonate. And it may be, I had a lot when growing up, I had a lot of just self-confidence issues, whether it was weight. I don't, with weight, I was very shy when I was a kid. I was an ice skater. I know I should say shy. I was an ice skater and the fear of kind of like failure with that.
Mhm.
And so, and then, you go through high school and then you're just like, you know, you know, not the really the popular, it was all that weird, that kids deal with. And it was just, I think I did a lot of, like I said, I had some eating issues, in college. So it's like moving forward, I never was confident in myself. And so when I became a nurse and was able to provide care to people and like have them trust me, that was a big self-confidence boost for me. Now, what
Mhm.
I'm finding is that I I'm an empath, and so I take on people's, I take on their whole life if I could. Like I want them to feel better, and so I feel like that's taken away from me as far as moving forward. I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly or not, but I guess it's just it kind of blocks me because I'm always worried about how am I going to put 100% if I have to do this, take care of my people, or um, I've invested, I don't know if this makes sense or not. So maybe we should redirect this question and maybe
No,
it'll
I
make sense.
actually think it's perfect, and there's no right or wrong way to express what your experience is. Even just
Right.
that qualifier of like essentially, I'm asking about your own experience with this, and then there's a qualifier of like, I don't know if I'm answering you right. I'm like, well, this is your experience. Like, how can that be right or wrong? Right? So it's just a reflection of how much I try and filter to not appear whatever this wrong, less than, imperfect, like whatever the actual narrative is, right?
Mhm.
So just a reflection back, the other point that I was going to mention is it sounds to me like right now, your history, your past, and all of the woundings from the past, especially those confidence ones, they are now sabotaging what you're trying to do in the present. It's like I've overcome this in this caretaking role of being a nurse, but what's required for me with this like online business actually pushes against all of the pieces that nursing never did from my past. Being visible, expressing myself, saying what's on my heart, right? Asking for the sale, pitching, all of the things that require, I guess, executing those skills properly. It seems like are pushing on all of those woundings from the past. So I'm just curious again, is that accurate for you? Does it resonate?
That's pretty impressive. It could be, yeah, it could be. I've found myself like since Sedona that I have been more confident and actually trusting my gut and moving into this new role, as and taking on this beautiful, calling that I have. But I'm still in the ER. And so
Mhm.
yeah. So it could be that I'm just not confident enough to put myself out there due to the fact of my past. I mean, that could be a spot on thing. But
Well,
I
I
know,
would think
like,
it's one of the factors, right?
yeah,
Because so there's like the whole like you spoke about like oh like I've learned about my inner child in Sedona.
but yeah,
Well, I can guarantee you there's a lot of inner child parts of yourself that are very triggered by what's required of you to step into the space that you need to step into, right? Even just that whole thing of like, well, on social media, all these people know me as a nurse. Like, what are they going to think, right? Like, that's a very inner childlike fear to an adult situation, right?
absolutely. I totally agree with that. 100%.
Right. So one aspect of it is that my past is sabotaging my dreams in the present, right? But then there's also the other areas of just, well, my actions right now are all passive investments. And what I mean by that is like you can learn all of the business things that you want. And I celebrate you for committing to learning all of those things. They're definitely necessary and you can't, like I say, out mindset a skill gap. And they will never have traction because I can't put myself out there and actually apply them, right? Or
Mhm.
if I do it very slowly and I don't get that momentum. So it's like the degree to which you can utilize these investments is entirely dependent on the fuel you put into them. And the fuel directly comes from what am I doing in the time that I'm not nursing? And if I'm spending the majority of my time procrastinating or, debating that it chose the right color on Canva, like that is a lot of wasted resources because you already have finite resources in which you can grow this business, right?
Right.
So what lands from that reflection?
I think, I shouldn't say I think I opened up with I think too much. To get over, I just need to do it. And I don't know why I just can't just put something out on, like, I don't know, a little
Well, I
lead
mean,
magnet.
if all you had to do was do it, you would have done it already and not been here. Like that's we all need to just do it. The
Right,
question is why aren't we doing it, right?
right, right,
So this whole process is really about unpacking that. And I think
right.
what you're realizing now is yes, one big part of that is the past. And
Mhm.
then one big part of that is also the emotional regulation, right? You
Right.
mentioned multiple times, I put myself last for a lot of different things. I'm caretaking a lot of different people. But when it comes to myself, I don't really know how to navigate all these motions of fear. I don't know how to navigate these emotions of like the imposter syndrome, the trepidation, and the narratives that come along with that, right? So there's a level of emotional and kind of what I call thought hygiene that needs to happen to get you over the humps to build that momentum to begin to get those clients.
And I'm there. I know that I'm talking about where I like as far as the fear, like I haven't done it since, but I am I'm there. Like it's happening. And I have a goal for January. I mean for January, for July, you
Hmm.
know.
When
Um,
you say it's happening, what do you actually mean?
that I'm my business will be open and launched in July. Like I have this goal
Hmm.
and and um
Well, do you
and
want to open your business or do you want to get clients?
well, I just want to well, my business is open. I mean, it's already there. And
Right.
I have
And the reason that I'm just
I want to
like,
connect with people. That's what I want to
right.
do.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. This is another trying type of response,
Yeah.
right? It's there, it's happening. Like I'm opening my business, my course is going to be launched. Cool. And is that actually reflective of what you want?
I do. Yes, absolutely. I
Okay.
want to offer my workshops that I've created that I've not put out there.
Right. So this is where I'm inviting you to backtrack. Do you want to make offers or do you want to have clients?
Clients.
Okay. So, and this is what I mean with regards to that narrative piece, right?
Yeah.
You're saying things that on the surface sound great and they sound like movement, but they are
Mhm.
all in that category of trying, right? And trying essentially just allows you to stay on the hamster wheel of where you're essentially at.
Mhm.
Right. And I don't mean this in any judgmental way. Like I'm not at all
Oh,
hating
I
on you.
wouldn't
This
have
is
been.
more just reflecting back to you that like the easiest person to lie to is ourselves.
Absolutely.
And trying, launching, offering, going about it, this is going to happen. They all sound great, but what we actually want is clients, money in the bank, in a different life than you're leading right now. Okay. So what lands for you with that reflection?
I would love to hear what you have to offer. Like, I definitely know. I mean, that's exactly what I definitely want. I do want clients. I want to resonate with people and I want that, you know, trusting relationship. It's, for me, yes, I mean, money is great. And yes, I do want to make money. I mean, I can continue to work in the ER and, I'm doing good, but so money is obviously something, but I also want, it's not always just for, I mean, yes, I want to be successful, but I want to build relationships with my clients. I want
Yeah.
to allow them into a safe, sacred, judgment-free zone. And I don't have to be this multi-million dollar. That's not super important to me. Money doesn't, to be impactful with for somebody is huge for me. And to
Yeah.
be able to do that.
And when I say money, I don't
Oh,
mean
I
you
know
got to
that.
be driving around a Lambo. What I just mean is that is a reflection of the value and the
Right.
impact you are providing. Like if you don't
Exactly.
have a lot of money, well, then you're actually not providing that much value, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is just it's a measuring stick. I
Yeah.
don't see you as somebody who's going to be like, money hungry or whatever, right? So I think really the big question here is like, okay, if I know that my past is sabotaging my present, if I know that my thinking is kind of anchored into disempowerment, if I know that a lot of the emotions are kind of rooted in fear that stop me from taking the actions I got to take, cumulatively speaking, like, is my identity one that right now is aligned with all of the goals that I want?
I'm ready to overcome that.
Okay. So if
I
you answer the
know that
question, is the identity aligned with what you want?
the
Like your
identity.
current identity right now, who you are right now, is it aligned with the goals that you have?
Yes, I think it is. I think that you have to have whatever my past experiences are, have created this path that I'm on today. Somehow, whether they're good, they're bad, they've made me and they've made me strong. They've made me stronger to have the power to do that. I know I will succeed, which is a good thing. I mean, I put myself through nursing school at the age of 30 and I succeeded. I was going through a divorce. I mean, I have overcome obstacles that have been super scary. And this is just another beautiful thing that I will accomplish.
100%. And
It's
it's not about discounting the things that brought you here. It's about celebrating the fact that they brought me here. And
exactly
the next thing that's required of me to go there also now requires a different version of me, right?
right.
One that's healed or past, one that operates more from empowerment, one that operates more from like, I guess the best description of that is it's like right now everything you're doing is creating friction in terms of launching. We want to remove that friction that is caused by fear, right? And
Mhm.
those are kind of the components there. So anyway, I know I didn't reflect that one back, but like, is that making sense, or do you want me to
No,
clear
it's
that?
true. No, I want to, thank you for that though. But it's true. It's just like I just said, it's excuses. Like there's no reason to not just, I mean, fear your inner child, your inner critic, and all that. It's just negative self-talk.
Yeah, 100%. So I wish I could eliminate that all for you here
Oh, well,
live
no,
in the
I
room,
mean,
but unfortunately, that's not what I can do.
yeah.
Um, in terms of just kind of mapping out, okay, like, well, what's the limiting patterns that are holding me back? Like, is this clear for you? Does it feel like good in terms of like, okay, I have closure on like understanding what is in front of me, or is there still something left outstanding? Like, where are you at with that?
No, I think I've got a lot of clarity. I mean, not full clarity, of course, that's a lifelong journey. But there's just no, you've created a lot of good aspect that good key, things that I've thought about. There's no reason not to there's no reason to hold back anymore. You know, I am just like everybody else in this world. You put yourself out there, and I really don't care. I mean, I do care of like how, I don't want to have a program not be understandable or anything like that, but when it comes down to life today, being present in the moment, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. Um, and if they don't agree, that's okay. That's them. What matters is me making myself happy and transforming my life, and then just getting off this, whatever, and moving forward. So,
100%. So perfect. If that feels complete for you, yeah, you can close us off by letting everybody know who's the best person to find you, where can they find you. This is your opportunity to practice your own visibility. So floor is yours for that.
is there anything else that you think that I need clarity on?
I think if it feels complete for you, I think for it's like for the container that this podcast is, like I said, the next step would be to begin working through and actually eliminating these patterns, healing the past, upgrading how you're thinking to align with everything that you want, right? But it's just like that is a much more involved process than I can realistically speak and go into here. But I think even from the outside, like what's clear is that you're investing in the skills of being a good coach. You've invested in the business portion. And it's like those things can't have the fuel to go forward if you yourself can't overcome, like we said, the past, the thoughts, and the feelings of it. So I think it's pretty clear with regards to what you've said. So does that answer your question?
Oh, it does. And I really want to thank you because that really has brought out some good things that like me, I haven't really thought about that at all. And so I want to thank you. But yes. So yes, my name is Karen Silverman. I've got my business is called K dash Silva Coaching, LLC K Silva Coaching. And you can find me, my website is K dash Silva coaching.com. So if you'd like to look that up.
Perfect. And who's the best person to find you? We're going to get you to practice your visibility right now. So there you go.
So anybody who, spiritual seekers that are looking to find their voice or find their life purpose, who want to increase motivation and increase self-love and confidence so they can finally be free from anxiety, fear, and shame.
Awesome. Okay. Well, congratulations on practicing saying that. Yeah, we'll include all that in the show notes. And Karen, thank you very much for being on. And for everybody else listening, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.